Hi there, and welcome to my presentation. My name is Amber Russo, and I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk to you guys about baking, one of my favorite things to do. Baking is a method of cooking food that uses prolonged dry heat, normally in an oven, but also it could be in hot ashes or on hot stones. When I think about the hot ashes or hot stones, it makes me think of pizza. What's it make you think about? There are many different types of ovens that you can use, including a double oven, like the one shown, an earth oven, a ceramic oven, a gas oven, a masonry oven, a microwave oven, a toaster oven, and a wall oven. We all use microwaves for pretty much everything now. The first gas oven was created in 1826, and the first electric oven came out in 1896. I never knew until I started researching about baking that people have been using electric ovens that long. I think that's pretty incredible considering I could probably never deal without my electric oven. The most common baked bread item is bread, but many other types of food are baked. Heat is gradually transferred from the surface of cakes, cookies, and breads all the way to their center. For Wikipedia, the ancient Egyptians baked bread using yeast, which they had previously been using to brew beer. Bread baking began in ancient Greece around 600 BC, and that led to the invention of enclosed ovens. I wonder what made them think that they could use yeast to bake something else other than beer. Baking is not just about cakes, cookies, and breads, although that is probably the best part, in my humble opinion, because I like everything that's a little bit bad for me. My favorite thing to bake is chocolate chip cookies. I found this recipe when I opened up my very first KitchenAid mixer. It came in a little booklet with it, tried it, and now I bake these cookies probably 3 times a month, and they've always been a hit. My husband brings them all to work. There are 3 basic types of cakes, and those are butter cakes or oil cakes, sponge or foam cakes, and low to no flour cakes. The most common one that people eat are butter cakes or sponge or foam cakes. Baking meat. A lot of people say baking, or it could be called roasting. But if you're cooking food that has a solid structure, like any type of meat or vegetable, no matter the temperature of the oven, you will always roast it. If you're cooking food that doesn't already have a solid structure, but will after it's cooked, like muffins, cake, bread, and casseroles, then the proper method is called baking. And I found that on a website called thekitchen.com. The art of baking remains a fundamental skill and is important for nutrition, as baked goods, especially breads, are a common and important food from both an economic and cultural point of view. A person who prepares baked goods as a profession is called a baker, and that's per Wikipedia. People who bake like to use any excuse to heat up their oven. They'll bake a cake to crown somebody's birthday, labor over cookies all day long to celebrate a holiday, or whip up brownies just because everybody loves chocolate. I know that's my excuse. Baking is such a loved pastime that there are a ton of TV shows dedicated to baking competitions. And this is when a bunch of people get together and bring their best foot forward to see who can be crowned the champion. My favorite show right now is Holiday Baking Championship. The #1 famous baker for 2018 is Duff Goldman. He has multiple baking shows, bakeries, and can be found as a host or even a contestant on many of the cooking channel competitions. The top baking book for 2018 is Brooke Headley's Fancy Desserts. He likes to think of it as much of a memoir as it is a cookbook. It's got ideas that are easy for an everyday person to complete, and not everything has super fancy names. Something to keep in mind when baking or cooking in general is cleanliness. One of the biggest things to be aware is cross-contamination, and that's when you have two raw products touch the same surface without cleaning that surface in between. When those things happen, we can spread diseases and sicknesses that could be proven to be fatal. When baking, you should always use precise measurements because that could make or break a recipe. Just going off a tad bit in cookies could lead to a nice, soft, or hard biscuit instead. Something you should always remind yourself is that a smoke detector should never be used as a timer. If you plan on it that way, your food's probably overdone, and quite possibly the rest of your house. I want to thank you for listening to my presentation on baking. I hope you enjoyed a little bit and you learned a little something too. If there's any more questions or anything, I'd be more than happy to take them right now or via email. Thanks. Have a great day.